Hello, and thank you very much for attending our presentation. We will present to you marketing insights based on the OkCupid customer data. So without further ado, we will start by looking at what the project was intended to perform. We are the business intelligence team here at OkCupid. Our task was to use in-depth exploratory analysis of the site's users with the goal of providing the marketing team, yourself, um, micro segments and personas for future campaigns. The actions that we took is to look at the data with advanced analytics using the R programming language capabilities to visualize and explore the customer database. As a result, we will provide you with insight and recommendations. So without further ado, we look at the data. As we can notice in the upper left corner, the data is highly concentrated in the California area, and more specifically, as you can see on the map in the lower left corner, it's around the San Francisco area. Now, on the right side, you can see the data structure. So the red side is the most of the data has character fields. There are a few numerical fields, the ones in green, such as age and height. We also have other type of field, which is the system generated field for when the users were last online. And as you can see, the gray lines are basically missing data. So we call that NA. To get into more detail on that, we looked at which ones are the data fields with the most missing values. And we can see, for example, that income is the least reliable. We also have fields, the ones that have black on the right side here, such as orientation, location, or the last online. Some of them are system generated, or some of them are mandatory. So for example, the gender is a mandatory field, the age as well. So looking again at the data that's missing, there's about 16.2% of the data missing. We have to take into account that in order to get a reliable prediction. We looked at the percentages that are missing, and we also plotted an intersection between various variables in order to ensure that the variables that we want to use, such as religion, are what are the instances that other variables were missing at the same time. So this would allow us to clean the data. Now, in order to clean the data, we have to be mindful of how much data is left once we remove the lines that have the NA values. So we chose an approach where we clean the data in two different sets. So one set is taking out the lines that did not have an NAs or missing values for ethnicity, education, and drinks. The other one, we took the data that had, we took out the lines that had NA for religion. The reason we did not combine these two is because by doing two data sets, we only reduced about 30 to 35% of lines for each of these data sets, whereas if we would have combined, we would have lost more than half of the data. So we did not want to choose that approach. Now, in order to clean the data, we also had to shorten some variables that we will use in our exploratory and in our persona generation. So in order to do that, we were able to take fields such as ethnicity, where there were about 205 different permutations due to the fact that ethnicity was allowing users to put a main ethnicity and then add additional secondary ethnicities. We were taking just the main one. So by doing so, we reduced the options from 205 to 9. We did the same for religion. Religion had a degree of the people's identification to a certain religion. We took that variation out, so we just kept the main indicator for religion. So that allowed us to go from 45 options to 9. And the same we did with the sign. We went from 49 to 12. And we used, for example, the sign to create the persona, which I will show you later. So once we cleaned the data, we did a little exploration to give you some insights that are high level but highly interesting. So for example, the ethnicity, we noticed that most of the users are white, but that's what you see on the left side. You see the distribution. However, in order to see the importance of the ethnicities, the other ethnicities, as to the whole of the data, we plotted it on a logarithmic scale that allowed us to see better the actual proportions of users, male, female, for each of the races. And you can see, for example, that the Asian, Hispanic, and Black ethnicities are about half of the white ethnicity. So these three are really important when you will do marketing campaigns. They're really important communities to focus on. Now, in the next exploration, we looked at the time of the last login to the website, and we can notice that, for example, the males are staying a little bit longer after midnight than the female counterparts. Also, we can see that the website is more popular starting Friday and then on Saturday, but on Sunday it's not that much more popular than a given weekday. So this is very interesting because it will allow you to focus your marketing campaign on Friday and Saturday as opposed to, for example, Sunday or Monday all the way to Thursday. The next exploration we did is looking at religion, and you can notice that the main categories are either atheism, Christianity, or um, other. So we're not sure what's in the other category, but basically this allows you to focus on the religions that are the most important. And we also have a distribution between male and female. So you can see, for example, that there are less females that are atheists than men, and there are more females that identify as Christian or other. To the next one is the religion by sexual orientation. So you can see some interesting trends here. For example, the size for atheism is highest for the bisexual orientation users. And you can also see that, for example, the Catholicism, it's about the same between gay and straight, but it's much lower for bisexual users. So all that to say, we were able to plot the highest occurring variable for all this data, and we were able to find two main personas. These, of course, fall into the white ethnicity. So you got a male persona, we call him Joe, who is athletic. He is straight. You have Jane, who is graduated from college and university, but has an other job. So whereas Joe is working in computer hardware and software, they both like dogs and cats, which is very interesting. And the sign for the male persona is Cancer. The sign for the female is Gemini. They're both single and they both live in California. Now, all that to say, we had to do personas for other groups. So we decided to do a non-white persona, where it is interesting that the female non-white persona is Christian as a religion. The non-straight user persona, the male one is white and is a student, and his orientation is gay, whereas the female persona is bisexual as orientation, and she's on average 24 years old. If you take the both non-white and non-straight, you can see that they're both Asian, and the male would be 26, whereas the female is 22. So these are very interesting insights for you to orient the marketing campaigns. So in conclusion, we would like to have some recommendations for you. First is we would suggest that you market to the personas identified as using the app the most. Again, as mentioned, perhaps on Saturday and Friday, as opposed to the other days of the week. We also suggest that you expand the ethnic marketing to the Asian, Hispanic, and Black communities, and you focus marketing to users on weekends and evenings. And also, it is suggested that you expand geographically so that you are covering other areas in the country than the California area. So we hope you enjoyed our presentation, and feel free to ask us any questions. Thank you.